Often, when one thinks of the samurai and samurai culture, what may immediately spring to mind are gruesome battles, elaborate armor, swords, and men renowned for their feats and honor. Indeed, this is the most common popular conception of them in our movies and media depictions of them. Yet, what they are known for just as well, especially in their native Japan, is in their cultivation of the arts, most notably of the tea ceremony. Such a norm is often relegated to the background of supposedly greater events, tea rooms serving only as settings for drama and character interaction in itself. Tea and its ritual was regarded as something just as important as what often surrounded it. This quaint activity rooted in the same philosophy and cultivation of the spirit as their warrior side, reflecting their shared Zen Buddhist roots. Ideas and values of emptiness, asceticism, simplicity, and above all, imperfection pervade in this philosophy from the tips of their swords to the curvature of their tea bowls. Yet, the samurai was just as well known for acts of cruelty and a stiff honor system. Humility is exacted by being born into power relationships which are culturally imposed from above even in the form of their cropped hair. If not by a lord, then by the emperor. It is only in the Buddhist monks, pursuers of aesthetics, that one can in some way escape this in deference to a different culture and an altogether separate sense of humility, though remaining ever interrelated to the samurai from which they both mutually draw from. This relationship of monk and military reflects well the two reigning states of mind which lay within those shining caps of the men of their day. Okakura Kakuzo, who wrote a 1906 essay entitled The Book of Tea, would also come to compare the militarism of his day to the quaint civility of the tea ceremony. Through these two, we see the struggle against duality in the samurai who are ostensibly dedicated to a non-dualist Zen mode of life. It is said that teaism is Taoism in disguise, and the anime which I wish to recommend which explores this dichotomy is the little-known Hyouge Mono. It does so within the historical figure of Sasuke Furuta, vassal to Oda Nobunaga and student of Sen no Rikyu, an aesthete samurai of humble noble origins who works his way up the ladder of the samurai aristocracy while refining his sense of aesthetics and arts. The anime opens up with this as Nobunaga confronts the aesthetes in comparing his recently constructed naval vessel with a renowned tea kettle, recently destroyed as a consequence of samurai infighting. Sasuke is able to satisfactorily answer to the effect of refusing to compare them, citing them as incomparable. Erstwhile, some of the tea masters in Nobunaga's court yes-man him in proclaiming their esteem for his military vessel, while only Sen no Rikyu dissents, advising to have them painted black. Throughout the show, these figures dominate as representatives for their particular side, with Sasuke caught in the middle. Nobunaga stands as the greatest exemplar of the warrior, his sight turned towards the luxurious and the ostentatious, symbols of his mastery over men. He hosts extravagant parades to display his lordship and constructs Azuchi Castle in the image of his own towering ambitions. It is exactly in the awe that he inspires that Sasuke finds his own ambitions, which nurses his eccentric hobbies to wean into genuine drive to better this side of himself. Yet, looking down upon this is the antipode of Nobunaga, Sen no Rikyu, who even goes so far as to plot his demise. It is from him that he takes in both Hideyoshi and Sasuke as disciples, however reluctantly. Over the course of the series, do these collaborators end up as heirs to different ambitions, Hideyoshi following in the footsteps of Nobunaga despite first opposing him, while Sasuke starts as a loyal vassal of Nobunaga before morphing into a full aesthete in the way of Wabi-Sabi philosophy. A verse from Sen no Rikyu reads, "Just a little space, cut off by surrounding screens, from the larger hall, but within we are apart, from the common fleeting world." Both the idea of Wabi-Sabi and the historical backdrop are both thoroughly explicated as the show goes on without requiring one to be well versed in it yourself. Indeed, the aesthetics in question may come off as silly or even pretentiously eccentric, and there are even times where Sasuke struggles with the genuinity of his artistic expressions in this court. Just as he struggles in Nobunaga's shadow, he feels insecure as he copies his artistic betters in Rikyū, and his greatest relishes in art are in collecting others' creations for himself. It is for the first time that Sasuke is encouraged towards independence, and comes to face the transience of all things by the death of Nobunaga, which leaves him despondent. It is only after obtaining a lordship following this and in making his impression with the Tea Masters that is able to pave the path towards self-mastery. The idea of Wabi-Sabi and the sense of aesthetics may be a little hard to parse at first. Often, it may seem to manifest as outdoing the others in ridiculous acts of simplicity, or in prizing the dirty and modest art of contrarianism, but this is not the case. The picture of it is presented to us through a visit to Hachikan, the refinement of the most basic aspects of ritual, with everything left in its barest essentials save the tea ceremony itself. The dilapidation of the tea room, its shadows which envelop one and leave them alone within it with just them and their meal. Sasuke, now Urabe, likens the wearing age of the bull to that of a monk's spotted bald head. This frank recognition of age and the charm of imperfection is that which becomes the highest in this philosophy, looking towards the smaller and the incomplete than the grandiose. This contrasts sharply with the projects of Nobunaga, though even he too, in all his magnanimity, made the tea ceremony his last act in life, imparting tea of his own blood to his spiritual heir. It certainly challenges Western perceptions of art, which may perhaps chiefly be represented by the Gothic cathedral, which seeks ever upwards towards perfection in all its exact detail. Such is the example Junichiro Tanizaki uses, and indeed pure aesthetes in Hyouge Mono find themselves violently opposing the pretensions of warriors towards dedicating the arts. Another verse from Sen no Rikyū. When you hear the splash of the water drops that fall into the stone bowl, you will feel that all the dust of your mind is washed away. Hyouge Mono is not simply a discourse on Japanese aesthetics and its developments, nor just an outlet for historical fiction, but a series in which we watch the development of an artist. From start to finish, we are with Urabe in all of his struggles to realize his own style and creative expression. From a novice aping his betters and being lampooned for it, to, as a warrior, being able to impress his master and even get him to begin acknowledging him as his own person. It is the development of every artist, indeed every man, as they live and reckon with the refinement of their own selves. What Hyouge Mono puts forward can be at first difficult to parse because the philosophy which underlies it is intuitive. Sen no Rikyū speaks of amusement, that which is naturally attained through experience, as significant within the tea ceremony. Because the show is about the experiences of men as they seek to achieve Zen in the art of art itself, and in the art of themselves. And so there is a humility to this as well as a difficulty in realizing it, as everything becomes marked by imperfectness and impermanence. The anime starts out with Urabe witnessing the destruction of a prized pot and being dissatisfied with its now incomplete nature. Yet is it only later that he comes to realize the beauty in such an idea itself because of its existence in all things of this world. A final verse from Sen no Rikyū goes as so. When you take a sip from the bowl of powdered tea, there within it lies, clear reflected in its depths, blue of sky and grey of sea. By realizing this nature, he is able to then express his own. The world of the aesthete seeks to provide humility to all things in respect, as Sen no Rikyū was said to have constructed a tea room so small that even the emperor, if he were to enter, would have to bow his head as if before spirit and tradition. Yet it is exactly by recognizing a hierarchy in things that Urabe, still a warrior under the clothes of an aesthete, is able to realize his own potential as an artist. Neither is the master himself impervious to his own follies either. Hyouge Mono is beyond a story about an artist as much as it is simply about the man's life as art. That all this may be obtained from tea, as it can be from much any ceremony, demonstrates the sort of divine quality of ritual life and the Zen state it ably produces. I hope you shall watch Hyouge Mono and not dismiss it or what it proffers, while still having the humility to laugh with its characters at the sense of absurdity with which they willingly engage in at times. This anime is far from any stuffy political or biographical drama, and willingly engages with the eccentricism that comes with artistic genius and the high culture of its time. Thank you for watching.